I'm here today. My name is Nora. I'm the lead naturalist guide of the Mono Lake Committee, and I'm here to bring you a Mono Lake moment to talk about peak ecology or peak stream flows on Levining Creek, where we are now. I just want to first say thank you so much for staying home and staying safe, keeping your community safe and our community safe by not traveling to Mono County at this time. And I also want to thank you so much for your support to the Mono Lake Committee to help us continue protecting the lake and restoring the streams and helping us bring you out in the field with us with these videos. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning there. It worked in the test run and it just doesn't want to work now. So let's talk about stream flows. Snowpack typically peaks around April 1st, so that's when all of the water that's fallen throughout the winter it's encapsulated in that snowpack until about April 1st. And when it starts to warm up, that water starts to melt. And so we calculate a runoff year based on how much snowpack there is. And this year is considered a dry normal year. So there are extreme dry years, dry normal years, wet normal years, wet years, and extreme wet years. So we're in a dry normal year, and typically that means the first spring runoff peak is in the beginning of May. So for Levining Creek, the median spring first peak is May 3rd. So today is May 1st, and we have quite a bit of water starting to come down the stream. All winter, it was much less water flowing in this creek, at least half the volume that's coming down right now. Currently, there are 55 cubic feet per second flowing down Levining Creek. So a cubic foot per second is just that. It is a cubic foot of water passing by one specific location in 1 second, but you measure it across the entire creek channel so you can get a good idea of how much water is passing through one single location on the creek per second. So 55 cubic feet per second on Levining Creek right now, and above the diversion it's flowing at about 122 cubic feet per second. And although Los Angeles is not exporting water to LA right now, it is moving water from Levining Creek to Grant Reservoir to raise the level of the reservoir, and that's all part of the plan. So typically with our streams, we want them to experience their full peak so that they can provide, that peak can provide some essential ecosystem services to the remainder of the stream and the stream bed and the lake as well. So in dry normal years, the peaks don't get as high, therefore they don't provide as much of a service, but it is very important that in those wet years, when Levining Creek can be experiencing peaks of 250 cubic feet per second and above, we've worked very hard to make sure that the Department of Water and Power allows those high peaks, the full high peaks, to flow down the creeks so that they can scour out the channels, can move debris and sediment and boulders around, can scour deep pools for fish habitat, can spread out on the floodplains and allow seeds to germinate that have been sitting dormant waiting for water, that will in turn allow cottonwoods and willows and other riparian vegetation to grow along the banks and stabilize them. And also, as the creeks branch out they have new channels and lots of different avenues to gather, not to gather those seeds, but to spread water to those already buried seeds. It really creates more dynamic vegetation along the stream bed. When creeks are just straight and deep cut into their banks, they don't provide quite as much riparian habitat for birds or ecosystem function. It just kind of washes everything down into the lake. So these peak flows are very important. And although this year, since it's a dry normal year, we won't be getting really high peaks on our creeks, it is still important to have water flowing down them year round. It's always just really exciting to be out here in the spring, especially this week, because the leaves are just now leafing out. So we have the freshest possible cottonwood leaves right in front of us here with this black cottonwood next to the creek. At one time, you can see these cottonwoods are pretty young. These cottonwoods had died, or cottonwoods along Levining Creek had died, and these that are here now had been planted in the 90s to help restore the creek. It's really beautiful now here with warm temperatures. We've had highs in the high 70s this last week that have contributed to a lot of that snow melt coming down and creating this peak. And our lows have been in the 40s. So even at night, when we expect April temperatures at night to be in the 30s, it's starting to warm up. And at higher elevations, it's starting to warm up as well. So it's allowing this water to melt away from the snowpack and flow down these creeks. And so Levining Creek now is just injected with all of this energy, all of this incredible springtime flow. So thank you so much for enjoying it with me today. And thanks for sticking through it with the technical difficulties. And I hope that you are enjoying spring wherever you are, and that you're looking forward to coming back to the Mono Basin when it is safe to do so you can experience Levining Creek, dip your toes in, hear the birds singing, hear the wind rustling in the leaves, and we look forward to having you then. Thanks for joining me.